Off the Top Rope Radio. We are live for Wednesday, December the 5th, the year 2012. The new year is approaching very rapidly, and we're glad you can make us a part of your Wednesday afternoon or evening. My name is Brian Shank. I'm host of the program like always. We appreciate you tuning in. And across the board, pushing all the buttons and making things happen is Joe Gimme a Beer Carrero. What's up, big man?
Hey, you know what? That sounds good. Give me a beer.
You want a beer?
Yeah.
I know the bar's open. You want it on tap or you want it in the can?
Nah, dude. I'll just take it in the can.
You'll take it in the can, huh?
You know what? You suck.
Don't get too personal.
You get me every time on that one, man. Damn.
Don't get too personal, Joe. I just know if you wanted a beer. Okay, that's it. Bartender, 2 beers over here, please. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
How you doing, man? It's good to see you again.
I'm doing good.
Good holiday, good turkey day, all that stuff.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Did you eat a lot of turkey?
You know what? I didn't.
No.
I didn't. I actually I did very well over the holiday eating. You know, I can gain weight just by smelling things.
All right, tell me about it, dude.
And I did well. I ate reasonably, and besides, I was under the weather, so I wasn't too hungry anyway.
Walking pneumonia compared to running pneumonia?
Yeah, compared to, you know.
I had running diarrhea one time. Every time I had to run to the toilet, man.
I remember
I'll tell you.
that, yeah.
Bad stuff. Fortunately, knock on wood, I haven't gotten sick this year too bad. I know a lot of people have been getting flus and colds and sinus infections.
Did you get your flu shot?
No, I don't.
Well, you should get one.
No, I don't get those, man, because they're going to inject you with the flu itself. Why do I want that?
Well, you know what? I can set it up. You get a special shot, and this shot, trust me, you'll feel like you'd flown.
No, I don't want any of those. I mean, trust me, you're a guy who wants it in the can. I don't want any of your shots. The only shot I want is maybe a shot of Jägermeister once in a while. That'll be fine for me. I'm not a big needle guy. I'd be a horrible heroin addict. I'd have to drink heroin, and I don't know if that works or not.
I couldn't tell you that, to be honest.
No, that's good. That's good to know you're not a drug addict either, Joe. So
I never did that.
Anyway, I'll tell you what. It's glad to be back here in the studio once again. Last few weeks we've been off here. We're doing a show today, of course. We've got another show next week on the 12th. And I talked to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He'll be joining us next week and talk a little bit about everything and anything that he's about. I should have, on the 19th, a very special guest in studio with us here in the KQCK Live studios. I'm not going to divulge too much information, but I think by next week on the 12th, I should have a very good idea of who we are going to be having inside the studio. If everything goes right, we'll be having a live special guest in studio, be taking all of your phone calls. You'll definitely want to be talking to this gentleman, one of the greatest champions of all time. I'm just going to leave it at that, not going to give away too much more. But enough with that for right now. Let's go to the present here, and that is today, the 5th of December, 2012, as we mentioned, live on the air once again. We're going to be having Zema Ion from TNA Wrestling in just a few moments. I know the last couple of times we've been having some problems on his end. One time he couldn't make it. The other time we had a problem with the phone lines. But, hey, that happens, man. You know, it's all part of the game. So we'll just be glad to get a chance to finally talk to the former X Division champion, Zema Ion from TNA Wrestling. And later on the show, about the 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, we'll be having Stan the Lariat Hansen on the phone. Now, if you know Stan Hansen, you know that obviously he's a big, tough Texas guy who really didn't back down from anybody in the business. He's definitely one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots and put on a pair of chaps. He's only one of the few who ever, I think, put on a pair of chaps, but regardless, we're going to definitely be having some cool stuff going on. And like I said, Zema Ion should be calling any moment now, and I know Joel will get them on the phone as soon as we can. But going back to Stan Hansen, we're going to play the name game with him later on. And the last time we had him on, he told us that he basically knew everybody in the business and whatnot, and I believe the guy, of course. And I'm going to throw some names at him and see if he's really going to give us some good stories. I'm sure he will, because obviously the guy is great. You gave me a little note here.
You know why? Because Brenda Lee is calling from...
Oh, Brenda Lee.
I forgot who.
I don't know. But
go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, that might be Zema calling us on the phone right now. See if Zema wants a beer. Get it? Zema wants a beer. All right, never mind. Brenda Lee, her 26th birthday today. Oh, well, happy birthday, Brenda Lee. Calling from Princeton University. That's awesome. Please tell the Lariat we love him and here at Princeton.
Okay, terrific.
Not what it says here. Interested in, let's see, interested in wrestling. Obviously, that's cool. That's great to hear, Brenda Lee. Happy birthday to you, my dear, and we'll definitely tell Stan that you are a big fan of him out there in Princeton. He'll be coming on in about 25 minutes or so, but before we get to him, of course, we're going to be speaking to Zema Ion from TNA Wrestling, former X Division champion. Should be a good time to talk with him, and I'm guessing we have him on the phone live right now. Do we not, Joe? Oh, you're going to tell me something.
He's being transferred into us.
Oh, very good. Okay, so when he gets on the phone, if he just wants to let us know he's there, we'll go from there. So that's very good. Glad to finally have him on the air here. And like I said, stand Lariat Hansen on around 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll be talking some more information with him.
Zema, you with us?
Yes, sir. I am with you.
All right. Hey, how about that? Zema Ion right here from TNA Wrestling on the air on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. Welcome to the program, Zema. Hello?
Hello?
Are you still there, sir?
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, okay. Are you calling from a cell phone by chance?
Yes, I'm on a cell phone. You sound like you were talking to me underwater right now.
Oh, okay. Well, is this any better at all?
And it's still hard. It's still hard to hear.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if maybe we can. Maybe there's a number we could try. Maybe calling you back on, perhaps. If
Hold on.
that's
Let me
okay.
get off the air here, and I'll jump on with you, Zema. Hold on.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, Zema. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're going to see if we can fix this issue here and see if we can get stuff going. Sometimes cell phones will do that. That's part of, I guess, live radio and whatnot. So, but we are going to be talking to him here a little bit about his career and discussing everything he's done so far. And if you think about what Zema Ion has accomplished so far in his 26 years on Earth, I mean, it's amazing. And I want to get his reactions on this and see what he thinks about everything. And we're going to try to do it one more time. Are we not, Joe? We're going to do it again? Okay, hold on 1 second here. Let's try to patch Mr. Zema Ion through here, and hopefully we got a better connection. Zema, can you hear us okay? Hello, Zema.
Hello.
Are you hearing us okay now?
It is slightly better, yeah.
Okay.
Let's just try to work with it.
That sounds good to me, my brother. I'll try my best to speak up and go slow here. But I just want to say, first of all, welcome to the program. We're very proud to have the first Filipino male model of wrestling on the show with us, which is quite an achievement for you, of course, and for us to have you on the air. That's a great accomplishment.
It's pretty historic, let me tell you. It's a great honor for you to have wrestling's first Filipino male model, the prettiest wrestler on the planet, and your future, soon-to-be, two-time X Division champion, Zema Ion, on the phone right here with you.
Wow. Confidence is definitely wreaking hard over the phone here, and usually it's just Joe reeking of something else in the studio.
Nice.
But, I got to tell you, I want to ask you a serious question is, how is your hair today? Is everything okay with your hair?
Yeah, the hair's okay right now. It's in a curly afro. That's how I usually wear it when I'm at home, saving my wild rock star anime hair for television. So right now it's tame, but tomorrow it will be about 5 inches off my head.
Nice.
I look forward to that. I wish I could just wear it like that every day, but if I did that, the divorce rate in Washington, D.C. would probably go through the roof.
And you're probably doing a lot of people a lot of favors by just keeping it like it is. And the other thing is, too, is speaking of Washington, D.C., I get a lot of newspapers from around the areas and stuff like that in the States. Here in Arizona, I actually get one of the papers, and I read the newspaper that there's only 2 things visible with the naked eye from the moon. Now, you can stand on the moon and see 2 things visible with the naked eye. One is the Great Wall of China, which is awesome, and the other one is Zema Ion's hair. Now, I didn't know I didn't know if you were aware of that.
I mean, that's kind of been the goal. My goal has been to get my hair so high that I hope to touch heaven's gates with my lovely locks. So.
That's awesome. I know some people call it a hair don't, but I think obviously one of the greatest hairdos in professional wrestling. And I'll tell you what, Zema, in 26 years of your life here on Earth, you've had a pretty good 2012 so far. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. Every year just seems to get a little bit better for me as far as my professional career goes. Just when I think I've hit some sort of peak, somehow it just keeps getting better, and I would expect that 2013 will be no different.
Very good. Yeah. Now, let's go back a little bit here in 2012 to July the 8th, the Destination X tournament. A few people involved in the first round of the tournament was Flip Casanova, and that's pretty much what you did was flip Casanova around, and you defeated him there. Then you went on to defeat Kenny King, Mason Andrews as well, Sanjay Dutt. You became the ultimate. It was the Ultimate X match, which was fantastic, and to be the X Division champion for that long a time, up until October 14th, when you lost the belt to, of course, Rob Van Dam at Bound for Glory, right here in Phoenix, Arizona. A really good run for you, and I think that what you're saying by being a future 2-time champion, I definitely think it's definitely in the cards and not unbelievable to see you become that champion once again.
Sure. Like, I mean, you can say what you want about me losing to Rob Van Dam on October 14th, but the bottom line is this: win or lose, the one thing I proved was that I can hang with the best wrestlers in the world, and Rob Van Dam, of course, being one of the best wrestlers in the world. So while I may have lost my championship, I do think I won in some way. I won by showing the world that, hey, Zema Ion is not all talk. I can back it up, and I can hang with anybody in the ring, whether it's Rob Van Dam, Kenny King, Sanjay Dutt, or if they want to throw someone like AJ Styles or Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, whoever it may be. Like, I'm ready, willing, and able to hang with the best.
There you go. We are speaking, of course, of Zema Ion right here from TNA Wrestling on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. Heard exclusively on KQCK radio station on KQCKlive.com every Wednesday, 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern. It's a pleasure to have you on the show here. And, we were talking about TNA Wrestling, and the good thing is that when I was part of the fan interaction at the Tapatio Cliffs Resort in Phoenix, Arizona here on the 13th of October, it was really cool to see a lot of fans coming out supporting TNA, going to the Bound for Glory pay-per-view the next night, watching Sting get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Hulk Hogan, of course, making a big appearance there that night as well. It was just a spectacular weekend, and I know that you were a part of it in a big way. Didn't come out the victor on the night of the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, but nonetheless, you got to be amazed and appreciative of all the great wrestling fans in TNA who come out and support you guys at every city that you go to. They're a great group of people.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool to see fans that traveled not just all over the country, but fans from all over the world were in Phoenix for Bound for Glory. I met several fans from the UK, and I even met a fan who came all the way from Japan. So, if anything, it shows the kind of reputation that TNA has around the world. Like, fans are so into the product that they're willing to travel around the globe, spend thousands of dollars, surely, just to be a part of our big weekend at Bound for Glory. And I think that was pretty awesome.
And the other thing is, too, you were talking about people from all over the world that were coming out to the show. There was one gentleman that I met. His name is George. He's from Australia, and he was dressed up like Hulk Hogan with the boas and everything else, and got a chance to talk with him a little bit. And he's been to 5 out of 10 Bound for Glory pay-per-views, and he flies in each time from Australia to see the TNA pay-per-views, and he said there's nothing like them. There's nothing like being a part of TNA Wrestling. And, to come out from Australia, man, that's not just a drive in the car. That's a good 20-hour flight. That's pretty amazing.
It's a 20-hour flight. It's thousands of dollars just for the plane ticket.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how dedicated and die-hard the TNA fans really are. They don't care about the distance. They will come to the show because they want to be a part of the experience.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to have fans that are that into the product.
Without a doubt. Zema Ion joining us here from TNA Wrestling on Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank and Joe C. hanging with you here. The other thing is, too, is I read something about you on the internet, and I'm pretty sure that basically what I read is true. It said you always wanted to be a real professional rock star. You always want to make your money and your living out of playing music, but unfortunately the guitar wasn't very kind to you like a wrestling ring has been. Is that true? Did you always want to be a rock and roll musician?
Well, yeah, it's true, and it's funny you mentioned that because since I've gone on record saying that I wanted to be a musician. I sucked at playing guitar. I can't sing. But what's pretty cool is that these days, to me anyway, it seems like DJs are like the new rock stars, and I have really fallen in love with DJing over the past year, and I've been doing that in my spare time when I'm not wrestling. So,
really?
While I may not have started chasing my music dreams at 16, it's pretty cool that here I am 10 years later and I'm getting to chase my music dreams again while still chasing my wrestling dreams. I get the best of both worlds, really. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty awesome for me. And it's humbling, too. It's really humbling because as far as wrestling goes right now, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I'm in the greatest company that I could ever want to be in, TNA. I'm featured pretty regularly on TV. I'm happy. I'm confident.
Nice.
And, that's awesome. So it's yes, sometimes that kind of stuff can go to people's heads. But at the same time, when I'm at the top in one dream, I'm just starting out in another. So it's very humbling for me. It's I feel like I'm 16 years old all over again when I went to wrestling school and didn't have a clue what I was doing, was learning a little bit. Just
Yeah.
getting excited about learning each week, too. And that's kind of where I'm at in DJing right now.
That's
So
cool. That's
I just
cool.
get pumped. Yeah, like tonight, I'm going to DJ practice at 8:30 tonight, and it's like, I get excited about it every week. Like, I just can't wait to go and learn something new, and then I just practice in my spare time.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited about, maybe finally chasing these music dreams and having the same success in them like I've had in wrestling.
That's awesome. And, it's great to have the best of both worlds, like you said there. And, looking back, too, in your wrestling career and where you've come from to be where you are today, pretty great accomplishments at the age of 26. Now, do you have anybody that you look back to in the days, back in the 70s or the 80s or whatever, maybe some old tapes that you've seen and whatnot, that you really admired their wrestling style and maybe that you even learned from? Do you watch tapes? Do you look at things and say, oh, I'd like to try this, or I think this is a good move, or the psychology is here? Do you ever go through a library of any kind of DVDs or VHS tapes and kind of, perfect your craft, so to speak, or take after anybody?
Well, I mean, it definitely helps. You have to be a student of the game. So watching any old wrestling matches or videos or whatnot, it definitely helps, and you can definitely learn a lot from doing that. With that being said, my favorite wrestler when I was a kid was The Ultimate Warrior, and it's pretty sad that I'm 26 years old and my favorite wrestler is still The Ultimate Warrior. So I watch a lot of his matches, my personal favorite being Ultimate Warrior Randy Savage, WrestleMania 7, which I think is an awesome match. So for people that ever want to dog the Ultimate Warrior's work, you got to think, like, in big match situations, the guy delivered, whether it was him and Hogan, him and Savage. Like, Ultimate Warrior deserves some props, not just for his crazy outfits and his crazy interviews, but for putting on some pretty memorable matches. Like, Warrior Hogan and Warrior Savage are matches that, like, stick out to me from my childhood. So you can say what you want about the guy's work in the ring, but I mean, he definitely left an impression.
Well, WrestleMania 6, Warrior and Hogan up there in Toronto, that was actually a very good match, and I think a lot of people were going into it by saying, okay, this may be where Hogan passes the torch, so to speak, to the Warrior. It's probably going to be just a blow-off match, blah, 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 blah. But I'll tell you what, if you go back and watch that match from WrestleMania 6 with Hogan and Warrior, it was very, very good. And I want to echo your statements by saying that Warrior did have some very good matches, and I think that the people he was inside the ring with only made him better, and I think what you're saying is very true. And, before we go any further, Zema, we are getting a lot of phone calls while we're talking here. My producer is very busy with the pen in his hand. Yeah, we got people from everywhere. I mean, I got people who call in from literally all of the United States, and these are actual real phone calls. If you can see my producer right now, he's going crazy. I want to go ahead and read a couple of these to you because you got a lot of fans out there who are pretty happy with you being on the show.
I'm pretty surprised. So, let's take some calls.
Okay. Well, a lot of them don't like to get on the air too much. They like to just, ask the questions and go. And I found that kind of is a good thing in some ways because we can go ahead and ask the questions and they can hear them. But I want to read you the notes here that I'm getting from my producer, Joe. Miriam Dumas from Muncie, Indiana called in, and she asks, what are your aspirations in the future, and how can I get a lock of your hair? True story. True question.
Well, you can never get a lock of my hair. I mean, maybe someday I'll put that on eBay or something like that. But I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that. Just cut off a little piece of my hair and try to sell it on eBay.
You should.
I mean, if Mark Briscoe can try to sell his teeth on eBay, then I think I got a shot with my hair. See what it goes for. I might do that actually. So tell her to just keep on the lookout on eBay and keep up with my Twitter because I might actually do this now just to see what happens.
And of course, you're on Facebook too. So if you go to Facebook, you'll see ZMI on there, and you do a lot of updates, which is great. I know you really appreciate your fans out there. So the other part of her question was, what are your future aspirations in the business?
My future aspirations, I just want to keep being successful in TNA. I want another shot at the X Division title, and I want more opportunities to wrestle the top dogs in TNA. Like, I want to wrestle Jeff Hardy.
Cool.
I want another shot with Austin Aries. I want to be in there with AJ Styles, Kurt Angle. I just want to wrestle all the top dogs and, show that I can hang with them and probably beat them as well.
Nice.
So that's really what I want. I just want to stay in TNA and just keep getting opportunities.
Very cool. We got some more questions here. We've got a lot of people. I mean, Joe is literally going crazy over here with his pen and paper. Frank Cisco from Juneau, Alaska, which I believe is the capital of Alaska. Frank asks, who do you compare yourself to in wrestling, and have you mentored with anyone? And he says, you rock. So there you go, Frank.
I mean, I don't really compare myself to any one wrestler. I've taken influences that I've had over the years, and I've kind of tried to mold them into one style. I'm very influenced by Mexican lucha libre. Like in particular, if you watch some of the matches I had with Sanjay Dutt this summer,
yes, excellent matches.
Heavy Mexican lucha libre influence there, and it's kind of like a chef. Maybe his specialty is cooking sushi, but maybe his job, requires him to cook steaks or other type of entrees. It's like me, my specialty is lucha libre. Like, you don't get to see me do it all the time, but with the right opponent and the right atmosphere, that's my specialty. That's my love. So it was great to be able to showcase some lucha libre with Sanjay over the summer. And so I'm really influenced by that style. So as far as mentors go, two of the guys that initially taught me the art of lucha libre were Dick Togo from Japan and his tag team partner Nobutaka Moribe, who doesn't get a lot of press. Not a lot of people know the name Nobutaka Moribe. He used to be a wrestler for DDT. He is a disciple of Dick Togo, actually.
Wow.
I don't even know if he's still wrestling, but he was a guy that really helped me a lot when I started out. I mean, he lived with me for 3 months.
Wow.
So Dick Togo and Moribe, they were known as the Italian Four Horsemen.
That's true.
Only two. I mean, that's worth checking out on YouTube. These guys are, so you got two Japanese guys.
Yeah.
They called themselves the Italian Four Horsemen.
There's only two.
Only two of them. And why they were Italian, I don't know. But I wrestled those guys quite a few times starting out, and they're definitely mentors to me, as well as the guys in Pittsburgh that I trained with, Super Hentai and Shirley Doe.
Wow.
Those guys have definitely been mentors. And I would also say Alex Shelley is a mentor.
Cool.
Chris Hero was a big mentor. Ricky Reyes, Joey Matthews. These are guys that taught me a lot when I was just a punk kid that just didn't really know what he was doing. And these guys kind of gave me direction.
Right on.
And helped me step my game up.
You were mentioning some of the Japanese. You were mentioning some of the Japanese talent there too, Zema. And I know Sanshiro Takagi also was somebody who was influential with you coming to Japan. Isn't that right?
Sanshiro Takagi, he gave me an opportunity that I did not deserve at all. I was 19 years old. I had only wrestled 50 matches in the professional wrestling industry, and I was invited to tour Japan. This wasn't like some guys do where they fly themselves to Japan and work some matches. No, I was invited and flown to Japan and paid very well, and I did not deserve that at all considering my experience level. But Takagi-san, he saw something in me, and he wanted me to have the opportunity, and it's like, I wish sometimes that opportunity would have came later in my career when I was more experienced. But if I hadn't gone when I did, it's like, I don't know what my career would have been like, because going on that tour, like I told you, it opened my eyes to lucha libre thanks to Dick Togo and Moribe. I made a lot of friends, and it really helped me get a better understanding of where I wanted to be in professional wrestling.
Wow. Hey,
that tour definitely, definitely helped.
That is awesome, because I know that these people are very influential on where you've come to today. And you know what? I know we don't have a lot of time left here, so what I want to do is I want to take these four other... Yeah, we have to shut off the phones because I'm serious. It just keeps ringing. After every phone call, we keep getting more. So I want to read these other four to you. Just go ahead and read them off, and if you want to make some comments about them, we'd love to hear that. And just in case...
the best part is where they're from.
Yeah, I know. I want to read... This is amazing where some of these people are calling from. I want to read all these. I want to read through them really quick, and then if you would please email Ion, I'd love for you to make your comments and your opinions and everything on the phone calls. Fulton Meyer from San Bernardino, California says, when will you be coming to California, specifically San Bernardino? He says, you're awesome. Lillian Kudrow from Busterville, Idaho. Man, this is amazing, dude. Yeah. Is there someone you really want to wrestle? I know you'll cream whoever it is. She says, I'm a big fan of yours. Will you do a shout out to Lily from Idaho? Okay, there you go, Lily. Shout out to you and everybody else. And let's take those two first of all. Fulton about the San Bernardino thing and when you coming to California, and Lillian from Idaho saying, is there someone you really want to wrestle and that she's a huge fan of yours?
Okay, well, as far as the chick from San Bernardino, I grew up in California when I was a kid in Hawthorne, right outside of Los Angeles.
Wow.
So I would love to come back to California. San Bernardino is in the middle of the desert. I don't want to go there. But I would love to go to California. So hopefully TNA brings our live tour around that way at some point so I can go back home, maybe get some Del Taco.
Yeah.
These were food spots that I loved as a kid. So,
Right on.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon I'll get to go there.
Cool. Now, that was Fulton who was calling from San Bernardino. And then Lillian was asking about, is there someone you really want to wrestle and that she's a huge fan and she'd like for you to give her a shout-out. So, Lillian from Idaho.
Sure. So shout out to Lillian in Idaho. Thank you for being a fan of my work. And to answer your question, lovely, lusty Lillian, if there was one person that I could wrestle, I don't know, because I would like to wrestle anybody, really. Anybody who wants a shot at it, like, I'm down. There's really nobody that stands out in particular.
I know Lillian wants to wrestle you.
I did say, you know what, in an interview the other day, I did mention that I would like to shrink down to 4'9" and wrestle Mascarita Dorada.
Oh, my God.
Amazing midget wrestler from Mexico who does crazy high-flying moves. So what I'd like to do is somehow shrink down to 4'9" and wrestle him and just be a base for all his crazy high-flying moves.
And that takes you into your next one there from Mexico.
Yeah, that takes me into my
Ironic.
Our next caller here. This gentleman's name is Malice Penn. Is that what it says?
Yeah, he formerly, I believe, from...
Okay.
Where did it say?
Well, it says Malice Penn from Hermosillo, Mexico. That's where he lives now, but he's formerly from the UK. He says, will you ever come to Mexico and take on some of the big... What does that say? Big?
Some of the big names, I believe.
Oh, big names. Okay, let me repeat that. Will you ever come to Mexico and take on some of the big names out here? We don't want to miss out. Peace out, he says. So that's Malice calling us from there.
Well, I've actually been wrestling in Mexico for most of my career. Mm-hmm. Off and on, so it's definitely a place that I've been several times, and it's a huge influence on my style, obviously the lucha libre style.
Nice.
But I do hope to come to Mexico soon, because the last time I was there was this past August, where I appeared on AAA's TV show alongside Conan, and I challenged Juventud Guerrera for his cruiserweight title. I have not gotten a shot yet at that cruiserweight title, and Juventud has since lost his cruiserweight title to a guy named Daga, who's really talented luchador. He's influenced by Japanese wrestling, so he brings a different style than you're used to seeing in Lucha Libre.
Nice.
So I'm ready to come to Mexico. I'm ready to challenge Daga for that title. It's just whenever TNA and AAA want to make the negotiations and make the match happen, I'd say the real winners will be the fans, and the even bigger winner will be me, the new Cruiserweight Championship.
Do you know if you're scheduled out in Hermosillo anytime in the future, specifically?
What?
Say it again, Joe. I'm sorry.
Do you know if you're scheduled in Hermosillo anytime in the near future, Hermosillo, Mexico? Is that one of the places?
I have no idea. I hope that it's definitely something we do for 2013. I hope I get to make a trip down there.
Nice.
To represent TNA
Gotcha.
in AAA. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Okay, Zema, one more question here, because the fans, like I said, were just calling like nonstop, and this is a great following you got here. Like I said, we've got fans of the show from all over the United States, and this is definitely proof of it. This last call that we had, his name was Lex Wilthrow from Phoenix, Arizona, so not too far down the road here. He says, Zema, I am your double in case you ever set and get... let me try this again. Trying to read Joe Chicken
Sorry,
Scratch
my
here.
writing's
No, that's
not too
okay.
good, man.
He says, Zema, I am your double, and in case you ever get into the movies... I will be your double. You are also my idol and my hero, and he said, stay fresh. So there you go from Lex.
So was that a question? Was there a question in that? Or was it just...
Not really.
It was just him putting me over.
I guess he's putting you over pretty good.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, young lad from Phoenix. But, yeah, I'd like to think if I was ever in movies, I would not be needing a stunt double. I'd like to do that myself.
Nice.
Hopefully it would be an extra payday for me on top of the movie.
There you go. There you go.
I plan on doing my own stunts someday if I ever make it to a movie, which I don't know if I will. But, I'm open to that.
Well, and the good part is The good part is you got someone else to do your hair for you if you ever get into the movie, so you ain't got to worry about taking care of it inside the ring, and that's the good part. But listen, Zema, I got to tell you, man, it was really cool talking to you today on the show. I was very looking forward to it here for the last couple weeks to get you on the air. I appreciate what you do in this business. You work very hard at what you do. You're a heck of a guy. You're a true gentleman, and we really thank you for coming on the phone and just keeping it real with us and talking some professional wrestling here. I wish you the best of luck in the future, man. I hope you do get that X Division Championship back. I also hope that you know no limits to your success and dreams in the future, and that whatever you try to set out and do, that they all come true, my man. And you know what else? I hope that somewhere down the road we can have you back on the radio again, and we'll talk some more. You get a lot of fans out there. This is proof.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come back in the future, so perhaps we'll make it happen someday. So happy holidays to both of you, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Let's say, Zema, one more thing. If you can, make sure you put me over with Lindsay, too, because I know she set all this up. And, just put me over and let her know that we did a good job, okay? Because that means a lot.
Absolutely. Don't you worry.
All right, buddy.
Zema, thank you.
God bless you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Zema. Okay, there you go. Zema Ion checking us out here from TNA Wrestling. Great guy, huh? I mean, young kid.
Sounds like a great guy.
He's got a lot of talent. He obviously can do a lot of things inside the ring. He's got some great hopes and dreams for the future, and I know that he'll do just fine. Joe, I think I gave you Stan's phone number, didn't I not? Is that it? Yeah. We're going to go get Stan on the phone because we told me call him at 3 o'clock our time here, which we're pretty much right on course. So, and again, thank you everybody who called in. Lex from Phoenix. Malice from Hermosillo, I hope I'm saying that right, Hermosillo, Mexico, from the UK as well. Thank you, Malice, for calling in. Lillian from Busterville, Idaho. I hope I said the city right. If it's not Busterville, we apologize. But I know you're from Idaho, so that's good.
Sometimes I can't understand them, and I do my best. Busterville, Rusterville,
What'd you say?
Hill.
I didn't understand what you just said.
Shut up. Could have been Mustard Hill.
It could have been Colonel Mustard in the library. You don't know. I mean, it could have been anything. So. Frank Cisco from Juneau, Alaska. Great. I know Juneau is the capital of Alaska. Joe spelled it Juno like the movie, which is awesome.
I don't know.
No, that's okay. I'm just having some fun here. Miriam Dumas from Muncie. Thank you. Fulton Meyer from San Bernardino out there in the desert. Thank you, sir. Brenda Lee with her 26th birthday. Happy birthday, honey. I hope you're doing well. And listen, guys, as much as we appreciate you calling in, which we do, please do me a favor if you can. If you guys are on Facebook, please go either to my personal page, Brian with an I, last name Schenk, Schenk, okay? Schenk, or better yet, please go to our Off the Top Rope Radio page, which is on Facebook. Again, it's Off the Top Rope Radio. If you type that in, it's 5 separate words, Off the Top Rope Radio. Please just go there and like us. Just click like, and you'll be updated on all the stuff in the future. You'll be the first ones to know because I always plug stuff on that as well. And if you haven't already joined KQCK station on Facebook as well, please do that as well. KQCK Radio right there on Facebook. Now we're going into the second half of the show here, and the next 25 minutes should be a heck of a lot of fun because I have one of my good buddies here from Texas calling in, and he's somebody that I've always been a big fan of. When you talk hard-nosed, hard-hitting, kick-you-in-the-ass professional wrestling from back in the day, you got to mention this gentleman's name, of course. He has had a lot of championships out there. 8-time All-Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Champion with people like Terry Gordy and Bruiser Brody. Also an AWA Heavyweight Champion. Georgia Heavyweight Champion 2 times, also the NWA U.S. Heavyweight Champion, and he was inducted into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010. That's a hell of a resume, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for this guy. I want to bring him on the phone, a good friend of ours here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Please welcome Stan, the Lariat Hansen, right here to Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Schenk and Joe C. Stan, glad to have you aboard, buddy. How are you? Stan, you there, my friend?
Yeah.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I think I can.
Okay. Well, that's good. At least you think you can. That's like the old choo-choo train. So do you think I can? I think I can. Hey, welcome to the show. It's good to hear your voice again.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Good. How you doing today? How's Texas? Good warm weather out there?
No, it's actually a little cool today, which is great. Yeah, it should be a lot cooler, but anyway, it's nice and cool today.
Excellent. Yeah, the cooler weather is always nice. It's about 65 out here in Arizona. It's going to cool down a little bit, but that's okay. Try to get some of that 120 degrees that we had over the summer out of our minds and just enjoy kind of the true December weather, right?
Yeah. I like your area in the winter, not the summer.
Oh, so do us. So do we, man, because summertime is definitely brutal out here. They always say you get used to it. Well, I guess you get used to it in a certain way, but we definitely love the winters out here. If you're a golfer like me, it's great to be out in the golf course in December and January when people in the Midwest are freezing their keisters off, and that's okay because that's where I used to live, but no more.
Yeah.
Stan the Lariat Hansen, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. And, you've had a hell of a career. We just mentioned some of the championships there you held. And, I mean, if there was a country that ever hosted professional wrestling, you've been to it. And I know you were very successful in Japan, of course, here in America and all over the place. The last time we had you on the show, you were kind of talking with us about, a lot of the people that you've worked with. And you made a comment by saying, you bring up a name, I'll tell you a little bit about them, and I'm going to test your knowledge today, and we're going to get some good stories from you. How's that sound?
Okay, we'll see.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. And, Joe, are you going to stick around for a little bit here? Because I wanted to see about maybe getting a couple questions from some of the
absolutely.
people.
I'm going to take all the callers,
Good.
man.
Okay.
I ain't going nowhere.
Before we go any further, what I want to do is, if you still want to call the show, the phone lines are back and open. We're not going to get you on the air with Stan, but what we're going to do is still do the same thing that we were doing when we had Zema I on the phone. If you have a question for Stan, something you want to ask him, maybe ask him about a professional wrestler like we're going to do, we'll definitely read those on the air. So if you want to call us, Joe across the board here will take your phone calls by dialing 480-745-1033. Again, that phone number is 480-745-1033. So Joe will be definitely happy to do that, and I'm going to be happy to start this off. You ready to go, Stan?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's a guy that I know you've worked with for many years and probably one of your best friends in the business, and I know that a lot of people I've talked to have just absolutely loved this guy for his tenacity, for his willingness to do what he has to do inside the ring, and just by being a great professional wrestler. Bruiser Brody. Tell me something about Bruiser.
Well, I mean, of course, Brody was my partner and a great friend and everything, and we go back all the way to West Texas State, where we are West Texas A&M, as it's known now. But anyway, we met in college there, and he was a few years older than me, but I got to know him the year that he was there, and then of course we got into business, and then we were teamed up in Louisiana under Watts. So Brody was a great talent in his own right, and we were kind of the first kind of team together, and we developed a lot of our closeness and everything in the old Louisiana, Oklahoma territory under Bill Watts.
That's great, and I know Bill Watts obviously very influential in your career. So I like how you're answering this. You're really getting insightful. I enjoy that, and then we'll move right on to the next name because there's so many here I want to throw at you, and I know you know them all, but we want to hear those stories. And in case you're just tuning in to Off the Top Rope Radio here with Brian Shank and Joe C., we are speaking, of course, of the legend, Mr. Stan the Lariat Hansen, right here on Off the Top Rope Radio, heard exclusively on KQCKLive.com. All right, next name for you is somebody who I always enjoyed watching inside the squared circle, and I think in a lot of ways, in my opinion, very underrated, Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
Oh, yeah, what a great... To me, I think he was one of the top talents in all of wrestling. He was big. He could move around. I mean, he was a real talent. He got in really young in the business. I think he was like 15 or 16. He started wrestling around Tennessee, somewhere up there, and he told me, and I mean, he was just a great talent. He was a big guy too, and could move, and he was, of course, I think he was the star of the Freebirds, which together they were just a great team. Buddy Roberts just passed away, and Michael Hayes. They were good talents also, but I always thought Terry Gordy was just a step above.
Yeah, I remember, too, when Terry Gordy teamed up with Dr. Death Steve Williams and came into the NWA, WCW era right around 92, 93. Just tremendous. I mean, I don't know if I want to be anybody going up against those two guys because they were a hell of a tag team, just like you and Terry were. And, as I mentioned, we are taking some phone calls off the air. We had a caller here named Missy Penrose, and Missy's calling in from Little Rock, Arkansas. And she said, please tell us, Stan, what your thoughts of your battle are with Lex Luger. I think we're going back to the WCW days. When you had a little feud with him, you changed the U.S. title back and forth with him and spit the big chaw on his chest. I'll never forget that. So let's go ahead and answer Missy's question. How about Lex Luger?
Well, Lex Luger, a lot of people, said a number of negative things about Lex, and I guess Brody had some kind of altercation with him down in Florida that's real famous and everything. But when I met the guy in the WCW, he was nothing but I thought a good talent, and we fought around there for the that title for a while, and ended up in a bull rope match on one of the pay-per-views or something, I believe, or the Halloween Havoc, or I can't remember what they were. It was so long ago. But, but anyway, I mean, he was a great physical specimen, but, I think that at the time I got him, he had never had to go against people like, somebody like Terry Funk or me or, Bruiser Brody or something like that. But, I think that, Lex, was a great talent in his own right, and obviously he made a lot of money.
Yeah, he sure did. We had him on the air here. He's a good friend of ours here on Off the Top Rope Radio. We had him on a couple months ago, and he's doing quite well. He flew out to Phoenix for the big induction with Sting for the TNA Hall of Fame. So he's doing well. He's getting better each and every day. It's good to hear your thoughts about Lex Luger, and that was Missy from Little Rock, Arkansas. So Missy also says that she's been listening to our show for over a year. So, Missy, you keep on listening, girl, because we're always going to have the great people like Stan Lariat Hansen on the phone. I still have a pretty big list here of names for you, but let's go ahead here to another caller from Wichita, Kansas. I mean, we got fans all over the United States. This is great. I'm guessing this is probably a worked name or a gimmick or something, but Lemonhead Williams says, I have an incredible collection of your pictures and paraphernalia. If you're ever in Wichita, can I meet you and get a photo? It is my biggest dream to meet you and goal in life. So there you go. Lemonhead Williams asked that. I don't know if you ever get near that area anymore or anything, but if you do, we'll obviously be the first ones to know. Do you ever get out to Wichita or Kansas or anything like that?
Well, I do drive through there once in a while, going from Texas out to Colorado and everything. But if I come through Wichita, I'll be sure and be quiet.
I'll make a heck of a lot of noise, Stan. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just joking. Anyway, I appreciate him, being a fan and everything, and but I don't get out there for business or anything. But I've driven through there a lot, so.
Well, there you go. Okay, very cool. So he's a big fan of yours from Wichita. So Lemonhead, we appreciate you calling in as well. Now, Joe's still taking phone calls off the air. If you could see our studio, Stan, you'd see him going crazy here with the pen and paper. But I'm going to go back to my list now because someone who I think is, in my opinion, one of the top 10 pure scientific, fluent, smooth as silk wrestlers that I've ever seen, that's Ted DiBiase. Uh-oh.
I think Ted. I guess I never think of Teddy as being a scientific wrestler, but I think he was a good wrestler, obviously. Mm-hmm. But scientific wrestler, I have to kind of think a little bit about who that might be. But I think Ted, he got kind of trained underneath the Funks again, and kind of like I did and everything, and he had a lot of great talent, and then obviously, down in for Bill Watts again, and also, and then of course he had his run in the WWF or whatever with Vince as the $1 Million Man, and we were teamed up in Japan, and I think a lot of his. He was in Japan a lot and learned that style pretty good too. So maybe he is scientific. Yeah.
I think so. I always thought he was, but I'm not going to argue with you because you would know better than I would.
Well, hey, what do I know?
You know a lot, and we're glad to have you on the board here. And we are talking, of course, with Stan the Lariat Hansen right here on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. Heard exclusively on KQCKLive.com, and Joe's hand is getting kind of sore over here writing all these notes.
I'm going to take about a 2-minute break on the phones, guys. I'm having a carpal tunnel thing because you've got so many fans out here.
You having a moment? Are you having a moment here?
I am.
All right, give this guy a beer and a little massage, if you would, please, Fifi. Come on over here, honey. Okay, we'll get her going. So, but there's a lot of people who are obviously fans. I mean, these are all real calls. I mean,
if I wrote down the real messages, they'd be like 7 pages long. I mean, these people know more. They probably know more about you than you know about yourself. It's pretty wild.
That's awesome, man. All right, Stan, let's go back to some more here. Doug and Kendra are calling in from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I believe that's also the capital of Pennsylvania. We had Alaska, and Harrisburg is the capital.
Yeah, I wrestled in Harrisburg.
Did you? When was that? How long ago was that?
Well, it was probably 76 or 81, one of those two, when I was in the WWF.
Wow, that was a while ago. Yeah, that's definitely.
I got a good friend that lives right around Harrisburg, Ed Hoig. Actually, he's a retired coach there from Higher High School there, and he played at West Texas State with me, and he's back there, and he's a retired coach, but that's where he's from.
Well, big shout out to Ed from Harrisburg. There you go, buddy.
Yeah. The Big E.
The Big E. That's how he's affectionately known by Stan the Lariat Hansen, the Big E. All right. Gentleman here, Doug, says that, now I'm guessing it says here Doug was born in 1949. No? What does that say? Oh, hold on. Hold on, Joe's going to correct me here.
It said he was born in 1940. The guy was like a buff. Totally.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let me make sure that he's right. Stan, were you born in 1949?
I was.
Okay. So there you go. Doug says that being born in 1949, would you ever consider going back in the ring to show the newbies how it's done? He says he loves your style, and they broke the mold when they made Stan the Lariat Hansen. So that's Doug and Kendra.
Well, I appreciate that compliment, but no, I don't think I'll ever go back into the ring. I mean, if the mold was broken, then it's really broken now.
That's awesome. I love that. The mold is destroyed and crumbled and swept up into a dustpan, right? Is that what you're saying?
I guess so.
Oh, we love you, Stan. You're awesome, man. I tell you. All right, let's go back to some more of the names that I've got. I know Joe is still busy here on the phones, and please, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in with these questions, we appreciate them. 480-745-1033, and I know I can speak pretty much for Stan, saying that I'm sure that you love him as well, right, buddy?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that.
I was just saying that you're loving all these questions as well from the fans out there.
Yeah, it's nice. Anyway, anybody that's remembers me, that's great. But we were going to talk about a bunch of the other guys. I mean, so I'd love to talk about the other guys too.
Here we go. I got it right here in front of you now. This is a gentleman that we've had on the show before too. He's someone that I think is also underrated in a lot of ways for being a big guy, kind of like what Terry Gordy was. NWA International Tag Team Champion, you were with him, Mr. Ron Bass, the Outlaw and the Cowboy.
Ron Bass is a great guy, man. I mean, I had some great tours, and we were, I think we were PWF champions over there in Japan.
Yep.
For a while and everything, but Ron Bass in his own right, I mean, he did real well in the States, and he up and down the road, so I always respected Ron a lot, and I got to see him, and I got to see Luger and some of those guys here this last year, and it was nice to see people. I mean, you don't get to see people from my age a whole lot, unless you run across them at some place. But Ron looked real good, and got to meet his son and everything, and that was pretty cool.
Very nice. Here's another name. Of course, he was a 8-year champion in the World Wrestling Federation back in the day. Bruno Sammartino. How about Bruno?
Oh yeah, of course, Bruno. He was the guy that actually. Mike Paducas talked to Bruno about bringing me into the New York way back there, and of course, we had some great battles with him, and ended up hurting him and everything, and it kind of put him out for a while, but he didn't hold it against me, thank God, and anyway, he came back, and he had a great career, and there was probably nobody over like Bruno.
Nice. That's awesome. This is just a comment really quick from a fan, so we'll just read this really fast. We'll go back to some names here. Sherilyn calling in from Casper, Nebraska. Is that right, Sherilyn? John?
I couldn't. She was breaking up a little bit.
No, we'll just say Sherilyn. Hopefully that's right, from Casper, Nebraska. She says, "You are a real cowboy because I would like you to ride me." Oh my God, I'm your number one fan since the beginning. No disrespect to you and your wife and 2 kids.
And your 2 kids.
Is she just? Is this a crazy?
No,
girl?
that was a real woman. She
God.
says I'm his number one fan since the beginning. She said.
Wow.
And then she, proceeded to go on with the riding like the bull. No disrespect to your wife and 2 children, she said.
I think I got to proofread these before.
Yeah, exactly, Brian. I was hoping you did.
I hope that's okay to read. I
Sorry
apologize.
about that.
I apologize for any disrespect if that was, Stan. I didn't mean to. I should have proofread that one first and maybe go about.
It's okay. You know what? There's a lot of fans out there, and I appreciate anybody that. Like I said, I hope that if they do remember me, then I hope they remember my my wrestling style and so forth. And I'm glad that somebody still remembers me.
The bottom line is every single call has absolutely wholeheartedly loved you.
Cool.
And you haven't had a negative call, and I'll tell you that's rare. Usually there's a
that
both
is
sides.
rare. Dadgummit.
Exactly. Gosh darn it! Somebody call in. Come on, give us some negativity here.
Yeah, really. I want to hear what they really want.
Stan's getting a big head here. Come on.
Based on Cheryl Lynn really wants, she wants to ride you like a cowboy. But we'll go back to the names here
But
because
see how polite she was. She says,
was,
"No disrespect to your wife and 2 children."
Well,
and that's why I handed you that note. I thought, if she could say that, she must be all right.
That is cool. But let's keep going with these names because I know this is why we did this. We want to hear the opinions on these names because he's worked with everybody in the business.
Here we go.
And we are speaking, of course, of Stan the Lariat Hansen right here on Off the Top Rope Radio with Brian Shank and Joe C. Okay, one of my favorites who I didn't really appreciate him until I got a little bit older and started watching his style. And I'll tell you what, you talk about someone like Stan Hansen who is very raw and very much hard-nosed. Another guy, Dick Murdoch. I love Dick Murdoch. Dirty Dick Murdoch. God rest his soul.
Yeah, man. Dick Murdoch, to me, I mean, like I said, I put Terry Gordy, he was a big guy, but let me tell you, Dick Murdoch was, 6'4", 300 pounds. And to me, he was the best big guy in that sense. I mean, there's some super big guys now, but back then, Dick Murdoch was like one of the top, and to me, he was the best. He was the best big guy there was. He could do it all.
Dirty Dick Murdoch, of course, he wrestled with the Outlaws, with Dusty Rhodes, the Bull of the Woods, as he once said there. And there's another name I want to throw at you. How about Dusty Rhodes?
Well, Dusty went to West Texas, too. He was more with Brody, but at West Texas, but he's a West Texas guy, and of course, everybody knows that Dusty became one of the top, one of the first stars to be, probably go all around the country to all different territories and so forth. And he had a lot of charisma and everything. And he's him and Murdoch. They were kind of legends when they were all teamed up together.
Oh yeah. Can you give me a funny little rib or a funny story about Dusty that you can throw out there off the top of your head that you remember, something that either you did to him or he did to you, or something that you just remember that was just something funny of a memory in your brain that you can just throw out there with Dusty Rhodes?
I don't know. Not that I can really talk about. But,
okay. Fair enough. maybe one of these days I'll call you and we'll talk off the air and you can tell me him. I'd love to hear him. All right, let's keep going with these names because there's a lot of them here. I just really did my homework on this one. Someone who I really admire, and I admire this gentleman because he was never the big, muscular type of guy. He was very scientific in a lot of ways, in my opinion, and somebody who I think really was a big influential person in the wrestling world, and that's Mr. Vern Gagne.
Yeah, of course. My connection with Vern goes back from promoters and wrestlers, and so he was a promoter. But I think I did wrestle him a couple of times early on, a few times, in a tag match or something. But obviously, Vern had a great amateur career, and then he went on and developed the AWA and was the president of that. And, he was the promoter and everything. And I guess in some ways, I always had a conflict with promoters. And so we had a few conflicts, but Vern was a man of his word. And, he gave me his word on a number of things, and he always held that up. And I really respect him for that. And, so I appreciate any opportunity those promoters gave me anyway. I mean, looking back now and thinking I probably didn't handle things the right way sometimes too. And But anyway,
I think we all learn. I think we all learn, and maybe sometimes a lesson we don't learn until after a few years go by or whatever. But that's part of life, I guess. We're not perfect because if we were, it'd be a different world, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So let's keep going these names here because like I said, I got a bunch here. How about Wildfire Tommy Rich, Georgia Championship Wrestling, 81 or so, great talent.
Oh, great talent. When I went into Georgia, when I first went into Georgia, Ole was the booker, and I told him, I said, I'd really like to take this Tommy Rich kid, and, he was just up and coming, but he wasn't close to the main event yet, but he was, he had a lot of fire and everything, and I guess that's where he got his name, Wildfire, but what a great talent he was, and probably still is, or whatever, but he had a lot of fire and never died and fought from underneath. And I mean, he was the type of baby face that I really enjoyed. Him and Martel and guys like that, they knew how to fight from underneath. And I think that's a lot.
Yep. Without a doubt. And Tommy Rich, I think another person I could put up in the category by saying underrated in so many ways because, obviously he really did a great job in Georgia Championship Wrestling in the NWA as well. But, I think he could have really easily have been a national superstar.
Well, he was. I think he was one of the first top national when, Channel 17 and WTBS it first went, Georgia Championship Wrestling, got on the cable and went all across the country. Nobody was more popular than Tommy Rich. Yeah. And, I think he was really one of the first ones to really, off that TV to really get over, and people loved him all over the country.
Yeah, he was great, and we had him on the show last year, and I think I'm going to dig up his phone number and see if I can get him back on the phone because I'll tell you what, when you talk about some great professional wrestling TV-wise, you got to go with GCW, Georgia Championship with Gordon Soley, Roddy Piper behind the mic, the Armstrongs. I mean, just fantastic stuff. Got a few more names here before we go on to those names really quick. Just want to make a comment here. We had another call in. Daniel Pace from Cinder Hall, South Carolina. He said, I'm 17 and been a wrestling fan since junior high. I'm trying to break into the business. Do you have any suggestions for me? You are my favorite wrestler, and I am my mentor in life. So there you go. Daniel is 17 but knows good talent. So maybe a quick response to what maybe he could do to try to break into the business in the right way. Do you have any ideas for him?
You know what? Things have changed so much. I really don't. I have no idea how somebody go about getting into the business today. Finish school, go to college, and if you're still interested in it and everything, then pursue it. While you're in college and everything. But to try to get in it and just, go in, I'd say it's going to be a hard road, and I know you're probably tired of hearing that, but, the business is just, completely different nowadays. It was never easy to get into, I don't think, anyway. No. Even when I was a young guy, not everybody could get in it. It was pretty closed society, and so now, what it's evolved into, I'm not even sure because I've been out of it so long.
Well, I think a good idea, too, really quick here to just kind of put a period on this is I would say, Daniel, check out maybe some of your independent promotions that are running somewhere nearby. Look for flyers. If you know anybody who's running any shows close to you, maybe go to them and after the show, go up to the promoter or whatever else and, inquire that. But I think what Stan is saying is a great idea too. Make sure you finish your school, get smart, get educated, and then go on from there. And if things work out for you, we'll take it that route. But I got a couple more names here before we go because we are getting really close to the end of the show here. How about a couple more names for you? I'm going to give you both right away and you can just answer them, right after the other. Nick Bockwinkel and Ole Anderson.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, let me talk about Ole first. Ole, of course, I really liked Ole. A lot of people didn't like Ole because he was a booker and a promoter. So you end up making getting on the wrong side of people and everything. But that's the way it is. But Ole was a smart guy. He was one of the smarter guys in the business as a booker and everything. I think I liked his philosophy and so forth and so on. And he gave me an opportunity to and promoted me there in Georgia and at the WCW later. And I got along good with Ole. He kidded so hard that a lot of times people took him as being too serious. And and I think that caused a lot of heat with a lot of guys. But he just liked it when somebody would fire back at him and everything, and I think that's kind of how our relationship kind of developed. But he was a smart guy. And as for Nick was a class guy, man. He was really a classy guy, and he was in Vern's camp for a long time and worked for Vern. But Nick's just a class guy, and I always thought that. Now he is somebody that I would consider a more of a scientific wrestler that I thought was really good, Yeah. And he could do a lot of different kind of wrestling moves and so forth. And I think that when I think of scientific, I think more of Nick Bockwinkel, in that way.
And you mentioned too, really quick here before we go, you mentioned class, and Nick Bockwinkel is about class. When you saw him on TV back in the day doing the interviews with Bobby Heenan, it's either Mean Gene or, whoever was inside, doing the thing and stuff like that. Nick Bockwinkel was class personified. And if you know Nick like I do and like you do as well, you know that he is the man you've seen on TV. He always dressed very nicely, had his hair always well done, spoke very profound, very prolific, and was a true gentleman in so many ways. I'm sure he had his wild side. I'm sure you've seen it. But in terms of what you just said about class, I cannot agree more. A great guy, Nick Bockwinkel. Love him, love him, love him.
Yeah, he's a classy guy. That's how I always think of Nick, classy guy.
Well, I think of a classy guy, Stan the Lariat Hansen. That's who I think is a classy guy. And I'd say
I've been called a lot of things, but never classy.
No, I know you've been called a lot of things, but I got to tell you right now, the one thing I'm going to call you is a good friend, and I'm going to call you somebody who is full of class because you taking the time and talking to us and being there, when you want to come on the air and stuff. That means a lot to us here, and I know all the wrestling fans who have called in. Yeah. I mean, all the people who have called in.
I have to interject here, Stan, and say, I'm the producer of the show. I'm not the wrestling buff here. I'm running the boards and this kind of thing, and to see all these people call in that are just such diehard fans, it makes me feel good. I mean, I just know you were the top. I know that just by what people are saying here, and we appreciate you coming on the air. Really do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, and good luck to all you guys, and I hope everything keeps working good for you.
Hey, you know what, Stan? You're my witness now because you heard Joe just a moment ago praising, the show here and talking about how good it is. So maybe I thought I could try to maybe see if I can squeeze some money out of him for the show, down the road and see what I can do. You think you can help me out here, Stan?
No, I can't help nobody out on that.
We'll talk about that, Brian.
So what, Stan?
Don't get involved in any of that stuff.
Well, Stan, I'll tell you what. I'll set him up in the chicken wing. You can give him a little lariat. How does that sound?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, no, seriously, Stan, listen, man, I know I won't probably talk to you maybe before the holidays, so if I don't, Merry Christmas to you and your family, Happy New Year, and I'll definitely keep in touch, and, we'll get a chance. I enjoy our conversations away from the air as well, and it's a lot of fun. So take good care of yourself. God bless you, and we'll talk soon, okay, pal?
Yeah, well, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Stan.
Take care. There you go, Stan Lariat Hansen, one of my favorites of all time. You talk about a guy who's full of information and someone who really enjoys talking professional wrestling. He's one of those people, and I can't say enough about him. And I really think that you look at what he's been through and everything else. He's done pretty much everything in the wrestling business. He's been everywhere. He's wrestled pretty much everybody. He knows everybody. I mean, God, of those names I've named alone right there is just tremendous. So we just want to say thank you to him. Thank you, of course, to Mr. Zema Ion from TNA Wrestling. It was great hearing you and everything else. And, it's been a great show. I really enjoyed everybody today. Thank you, everybody who called in and talked to Joe and expressed your comments. That means a lot to us here because without you fans, it means there's no one listening. So,
yeah, right.
Thank you for that. And again, if you want to join us up, please let us know you're listening to the show. Go to our Facebook page, Off the Top Rope Radio. That's 5 words, Off the Top Rope Radio. Find us on Facebook. Just click on like. When you do that, we'll be able to update you. I'll give away some prizes and some stuff like that in the future. And we'll just have, a good time, just enjoying professional wrestling and talking about things that we all love and enjoy watching. If it's someone from yesteryear or even someone from today, like Zema Ion and Stan the Lariat Hansen, it's all good. So check us out. Also check out KQCK Radio on Facebook as well. Like both pages. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to send me an email, that's easy. Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. Again, that's Brian with an I, BRIAN, at KQCKradio.com. And Joe is over at Joe KQCKradio.com.
No, I'm at KQCK Live, but I'm going to make the radio one too.
Is it? Oh, I beg your
pardon. I'm going to do that today.
Wait a minute. Let me repeat mine. I made a mistake too. It's Brian at KQCKlive.com. I said radio.
You had a new one going.
Oh, I don't have a new one. I'm sorry. Scratch that. If you've already sent it, just go back into your sent folder and resend it to the right one, which is Brian, BRIAN, at KQCKlive.com. That's KQCKlive.com. We'd love to hear from you. And anybody who writes into us or whatever, we'll send you something in the mail. We got autographs and pictures and everything else. So take care. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week on the 12th with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And we'll be talking professional wrestling. And maybe on the 19th, right here in 2 weeks, we'll have a live guest here in this chair. And I think that you might like who it is.
Nice.
He's been called the greatest of all time, if you know what I'm talking about. I think he's still dating Peggy Sue, too. So we'll leave it at that. So everybody, thank you. Have a great week. Enjoy it. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Daniel, your host for Rock and Roll 101, every other Sunday at 5 on KQCK.
Santan Motors.